former governor of the state, Issa Yuguda, have raised the alarm over their outright exclusion from the power sharing arrangement in the party ahead of the National Convention billed for Saturday, March 26. Unanimously, they rejected the decision of some members of the party from the Northeast geopolitical zone to microzone the seat of the deputy national chairman of the party to Borno State. The APC chieftains who rose from an emergency meeting in Abuja on Tuesday stated that they were not part of the decision to microzone the seat of the party national chairman to Borno. This is so glaring that they are divided. They didn't know when this actually took place. Now, in a letter to President Muhammadu Buhari, the aggrieved Bauchi APC members argued that there is no way Borno State will be placed far ahead of Bauchi State, renowned as the traditional base of the APC in the Northeast 2019. They also copied the chairman of the Caretaker and Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee, CECPC, and the Yobe State Governor, May Malabuni, the Chairman, Progressive Governors Forum, PGF, State Governor, Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, and all the leaders and stakeholders in the party. This is the issue going on. They've raised an alarm. Now, it shows that there's a crack also in the PDP and in the APC, sorry, and they're not too okay with what's happening now. What do you make of all this issue? First of all, I'd like to take you, Solomon Alozie.
Well, like we have been asking, it is expected that the APC convention should have been held before now, because definitely there is no way you will please all the stakeholders in a convention. The outcome of such conventions will be such that some people will be pleased while others will be displeased. So what the party does is, after the convention, there is a reconciliation committee that is setting to see how they can assuage the feelings of those of them who are when you dilly-dally on your convention and you shift it very close to election year, there is this tendency of those who are aggrieved to move over to another party. So that's the danger in delaying on having these conventions. So Bauchi State stakeholders from Bauchi State, they are agitating that they have been sidelined, which is a normal expectation in politics, because you cannot, it is practically impossible to accommodate all interests. So what that means is they are sounding a note of warning that if our interests are not protected, well, you better do something now, because given the fact that we have been consistently producing votes for APC in 2015 and in 2019, the records are there to show. So you cannot overlook us. So those are alarm bells that are ringing, and I know and I hope that the APC will look into it and try to reduce the tensions among those stakeholders.
Okay, so Honorable Kone, now, on the premise of what Alozie has said, do you see this as a springboard for this faction of the APC in Bauchi State to really defect from the party?
No,
if nothing is done to this.
I do not think it will get to that extent. Recall that Dogara, who is one of the leaders of the party in Bauchi State, just defected from the PDP into APC, and then it would be wrong for him at this time that is close to election to defect back to the PDP. There would be nothing he will meet over there. There would not be a stake. We are trying to agitate that there is nothing. They've been with the APP, the ANPP, and then APC. They have been so till this moment. Bauchi, I've tried, but last time they lost, the APC lost in Bauchi State and lose the governorship to the PDP. And so that's what happens when you do not have a sitting governor in your state speaking for you, because the governors take most of these key decisions in sharing political offices, particularly when it comes to party congresses like this. So they do not have an insider that is really speaking for them. But what I do know, and I know very well, is that all these positions have been shared among the different states. you know, there are zonal positions, there are national positions, and all these positions have been zoned, have been shared, you know, and there must be a position at least to every state, because the position in the National Working Committee is more than 36. So if you do that, share that among each of the states, you get at least
one.
Somebody will get at least one. So they cannot say nothing has been given to them. I think their problem is that they are not getting the kind of juicy thing like politicians used to say. They're not getting the kind of juicy position that they wanted. But bottom line is that they should put themselves together, accept what has been given to them in the interest of the party they are in, and then work hard to regain the governorship of their state so that they can have a strong voice subsequently as they move on.
Well, contrary to what you're saying, well, most people, if they're not satisfied, they take decisions actually to really give them satisfaction. Now, contrary to what you've just said, in their letter to President Muhammadu Buhari, the aggrieved Bauchi APC members argued that they are renowned as the traditional base of the APC in the Northeast, the traditional base in the Northeast in both the 2015 and 2019 general elections. So what would you make
I've just given you, I've just rolled out the statistics for you here right now, that APC PDP has not won the governorship election of Borno State the last 22 or 23 years. Since 1999, PDP have not won Borno State, but PDP have won Bauchi State, not once. So they cannot clearly claim and say that Bauchi is the home of APC in the Northeast. No, I disagree with them. That statistics does not agree with their assertion.
So are you saying that the votes actually they've given to the APC over time may not really count if they decide not to give them that same vote?
It does count, no doubt. One vote can make a difference. The vote they have given to the APC does count and is important and critical. But the truth still remains that they are not the ultimate supporter of APC in the Northeast.
So, Alozie, do you agree with them? They said that the party chieftain from Bauchi contended that Borno State already has more than enough of government patronage under the President Muhammadu Buhari administration than Bauchi.
That is expected because given the Boko Haram issues, Borno has suffered more. They've suffered a lot of losses, and so it's expected that the President Muhammadu Buhari administration must focus more on Borno State to rebuild those infrastructure and help in strengthening and protecting the sovereignty of Nigeria with respect to Borno State. So I think that should not be a criteria for this political agitation. Well, I think they may also have a point in the votes delivered to Buhari, because of this Boko Haram issue. The votes delivered in 2019 from Bauchi, I think, was greater than that from Borno State. So I think that is where they may be laying claims to. But it is expected that no government can. You can't abandon Borno at this point. No, Borno is like a Nigerian child now. So politicians will always cry for more. But then I think if I were the president as well, I would focus more on Borno State because of the Boko Haram issue.
Okay, so we would like to really move on. If you're joining us, this is open conversation, and I've been speaking with Honorable Henry Monet and Solomon Walozie, political analysts and social commentators here today. And let's see what really unfolds. Let's see if there will be cases whereby they will be pacified to really go on. What would you think, Henry Monet, will pacify this clamor from the Bauchi State APC faction?
It's very simple. It depends on the leadership. When you are leading a set of people and you see a particular section of that people, agitating, I think the best thing to do is to call them in, have a word with them, and give them assurances that their interests will be protected. Let them look beyond, party offices and work collectively towards the party winning the 2000 or remaining in power, beyond 2023, so that their cases can be subsequently taken care of. That should come from the leadership of the party, and that should also come from the president. Assurances should be given to them so that their feelings can be assuaged, and then they can work collectively together for the interest of the party.
Well, one of those here, as politicians, based on what Pune has said, as politicians actually kept to their word when it comes to assurance, they just say words and first to really pacify the issue, make sure that we have a smooth ride at that time. But looking at the long run, the assurances, does it really hold water when it comes to pacifying members of their party?
It's difficult to say, but I think at this point it will be better for them to keep to the assurances they've given. Over time, you've seen politicians make promises they don't keep to. But I think the APC in Bauchi State should look at the greater good, should look at what is coming in front. They should, I think that should not be a reason for them to abandon their ship at this point in time, because if they get the greater good, these other little grievances will be settled, and there'll be more meat to be shared. If you go by the words of politicians, I believe you me, nothing could come out. But I know that in politics you have to persevere, you have to endure, and you have to be tolerant as well, and hope that this time around they will live up to their promises.
All right, so we hope they'll live up to their promises. Right now, we've been discussing on issues in the major parties we have in Nigeria. That's the APC and the PDP. And based on this premise, we move over to the last issue we have on ground, which is the state of the nations. Some Nigerians have actually clamored that we have to get it right in 2023. Now, Nigerians, including former Kaduna State Governor Senator Ahmed Makrafi and former Ogun State Governor Benga Daniel, former Anambra State Governor Mr. Peter Obi, former Director General of Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency NIMASA, Mr. Dakoko Peterside, Dr. Dakoko Peterside, former Deputy National Chairman of the PDP, Chief Bode George, on Tuesday warned that failure to address the leadership challenges facing the country could spell doom for Nigeria, urging Nigerians to elect leaders who are not only idealistic but realistic during next year's polls. These are men who've really tasted power, and they're coming to say these statements now. Based on what they've really done, their antecedents, should their words be taken very seriously, Honorable Pone?
I think these calls couldn't have come at a more better time, because we are looking forward to a change of leadership, change the leadership of our country. So this call couldn't have come at a better time. You know, it is important that they draw the attention of the citizenry to what is happening. We all feeling it. We're wearing the shoes and we know where it pinch, and so we are all feeling it. And so it is proper that senior citizens like them that have spoken should raise their voice and inform citizens to get themselves prepared and critically look at the kind of leadership that they are going to hire in 2023. I would want to say that, with due respect to the APC and Mr. President, I want to say that Nigerians didn't really get what they bargained for. You know, from the situation we found ourselves currently, Nigerians didn't get what they bargained for, and so they must think very deep at this time now. Collaborate effectively with interests that can put in place, you know, the right leadership for this country, so that we can pull back from the brink. Nigerians are at the brink. If something is not done, it could be a disaster. And so the only thing to do is to ensure that we hire leadership that can pull us out of the situation we find ourselves now.
All right, they moved on to say that they insisted that Nigeria must get the leadership question right during 2023 general elections. They spoke at the 4th annual lecture with the theme, Nigeria's Political Indices, Break or Bleak Future, organized by Freedom Online. That's what they actually said now. Alozie, the bright or bleak future in Nigeria, what's your take on these matter really raised in the by these Nigerians who really tested power in one way or the other?
It's expedient that they speak at this time. It is very, very important because the country it's on its knees. The giant of Africa is on its knees, purportedly, and it is time for us to jettison parochial interests, ethnic sentiments, and go for competence. We all know leaders who have good track records. Look, before you vote for somebody, you look at the person's track record. What has he done? What did he do before? What was he able to do? We remember during the Obasanjo era when we had the economic doom across the globe. It did not affect Nigeria as much because Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala was able, through the Sovereign Wealth Fund, to save some funds that we now use to weather the storm during. It's an aberration. It's an aberration. So we really need a future that is bright. We need a bright future at this point, and that can only come into place if we have competent, experienced, and result-oriented leadership. Our problem in Nigeria is leadership. Once we get it right at the leadership level, everything will fall in place.
Okay, so let's see the keynote address by the former Ogun State Governor, Mr. Daniel. He said, with the right decision and policies, Nigerians can change the narrative and the state of the nation. He says again, and I quote, "Indeed, I can say that the future of Nigeria is bright. As a leader, both in politics and other economic indicators, I cannot admit this. We can change the narratives and the state of the nation currently to an enviable position within the shortest time possible." Honorable Kone, with the crop of politicians we have now, do you think this statement by the former Ogun State Governor Benga Daniels would be achievable?
First and foremost, let me agree with him that the future of Nigeria cannot be bleak. The future of Nigeria can always remain bright. We have in abundance natural, human and material resources that can take this country to greater heights. And the problem has always been leadership. And so if we can put our acts together, if we can only find the right kind of persons and set aside parochial sentiments like he had said, narrow interest, and put the right persons in place, it doesn't matter. We look in outside this climb, in senior climes like United States or in the UK, it doesn't matter who mans a particular position. As far as you have the competence to run that position, it doesn't matter whether you're in PDP. APC can hire a PDP expert to come, and somebody who is sympathetic to the PDP to come and man a particular position. Is
that really possible in our Nigeria today?
That is where
to the tribal sentiments and political sentiments that we have.
If we want our country to, if we want our future to remain bright, that is where we should be working towards. We should not be holding back the old things that have held us down. We should be looking at how people do things and get things right. That's the direction we should be looking at. So looking at the right persons, looking at competence, like he has rightly said, looking at competence and putting square pegs in square holes is what matters right now.
Okay, so he says again, he says to Nigerians to stop dreaming of a better Nigeria and start working towards achieving one. It is not enough to have passion and vision without a roadmap dutifully followed. Stop dreaming of a better Nigeria, start working towards it. Alozie, how can Nigerians start working towards a better Nigeria that we have, that we hope to see?
I think to start from the basics first, every Nigerian should ensure that they have their PVC, because it is with the PVC that you can determine who will become the president or who would lead. So to determine this, we need the PVC. Every Nigerian must ensure that he or she has the PVC. And also, every Nigerian should ensure that on the day of the election, they should come out and vote. It is important, because if you don't vote, you are creating that loophole for manipulations to set in. And definitely, politicians will take advantage of this and manipulate the process. So if all of us come out and get ourselves involved, You know, it is very good. It takes a good chef to be in the kitchen and prepare a good meal. The man who is observing cannot prepare the good meal. So it is when Nigerians come together and prepare this meal that this meal will be good for us. So we cannot effect changes when you are outside. So Nigerians must participate in this process, because I believe we have competent, resource-oriented, result-oriented, and capable Nigerians that can change and turn around the state of our nation to a brighter future.
Okay. Thank you, Alozie. Now, Honorable Kone, let's look at the words of Senator McAfee, because now the situation is, how do we address these challenges in Nigeria, owing to our multicultural, multilingual state that we have in Nigeria? We have divergent views and tribal sentiments that have also caused, some say it has caused some level of damage. Some say that we are strong in our diversity. So how do we address these challenges that McAfee is saying that we have to address these challenges, Honorable Kone?
Addressing challenges begins with identifying those challenges. And so what are the challenges of Nigeria? The challenges of Nigeria, if you ask me economically, is that we are endowed with so much resources, particularly the petroleum resources that have become the mainstay of our economy. And yet we are not maximizing the opportunities that are inherent in that natural resources. Is sad and very unfortunate today that Nigeria, the 6th ranked petroleum export producing country, is importing petroleum products. You know what that does to our foreign reserve? You know what that does to our resources, to our foreign exchange? It completely depletes our foreign exchange, because we are not maximizing the value chain. We drill up crude oil and sell it abroad. While there are values in a barrel of crude oil, there are so many products that can be extracted if only we can refine at home. So why can't we refine at home and then even become a major exporter of finished products? That is how we will get value for our resources and then improve our economy. That's for the political angle. That's for the economic angle. Politically, we must also, our politicians must also rise to the occasion and think of how they can help this country and move away from this do or die politics to a politics where we can really, the opinion, the views of the people can reflect in our elections.
Okay, so
we can move forward.
All right, thank you, Honorable Kone. Now, looking at the words of the former governor of Anambra State, that's talking about Mr. Peter Obi, and he was also there at the gathering, and he said that the quality of leadership is poor and the selection process of leadership is also poor. Alozie, selection process is poor. How can we revitalize our selection process in Nigeria? That's talking about our leaders, the selection process of our leaders. How can we really work towards this and have a clean and fair selection process? And he may be referring to the elections. That's what he's talking about here. So how do we do that in Nigeria?
Well, the Constitution has provided our political parties are the vehicles through which we select our leaders. So I believe that statement is going directly to our political parties. You must play by the rules. You must ensure that the processes of selecting those who become leaders are clean, are clear, and are devoid of godfatherism. That is one very major bane of our politics. If you don't have a godfather who can speak for you, you cannot aspire to become whatever you want to become, even if you're qualified, if you have all the competencies of this world. So I believe P2B is speaking from experience, and he's speaking to the political parties. It is time for political parties to jettison this godfatherism. It is time for political parties to look at the ingredients that these candidates make up and look at the greater good and ensure that people who are more productive, people who are more competent, take up these positions, because at the end of the day, their decisions and their policies will affect the generality of Nigerians.
Is it really possible to really jettison the matter of godfatherism in Nigeria, knowing that, things are actually going on now? We have consultancies really going on here and there. These are quite signals that the godfathers are still really in charge. So, is this possible for you to...
2022 Electoral Act has giving some guidelines, and I believe that if those guidelines are properly followed, it will lead to a large extent reduce the effect of godfatherism. Well, I'm only being optimistic anyway, but to be realistic, it will be difficult at this time because the overwhelming influence of godfathers cannot be wished away. But how I wish they can, it will actually help the polity in producing capable leaders that will turn around our polity.
Honorable reporter, do you have a divergent view or contrary view towards what Solomon Alozie has said?
No, my view is not divergent, it's rather complementary. What I would say is that another way to tackle godfather, if a godfather imposes a candidate who is a puppet or somebody who is not qualified to run for a particular office and a godfather imposes him in that office, the citizens will now decide and then punish that godfather for bringing up somebody that does not have the required competence to run a particular office. So citizens' participation is very, very important.
So you heard it, citizen participation is actually important. So, well, if you've not gotten your PBC, that is how first you need to ensure that you participate and do the right thing in Nigeria today. This is Open Conversation. This is where we're drawing the curtain on today's edition of Open Conversation. We did touch on matters concerning the presidency, accusing PDP of plotting to destabilize Nigeria. Next, we went to the crisis looming in the PDP. We had clarifications there by Aminu Tambowal and the Southside governors affirming that they need a chance to be in charge of Nigeria come 2023. Then we did touch on the issue of the marginalization of some party structures in the Bauchi state, saying that they were not really given an opportunity to be in charge of the power share. This is issue also towards the APC convention come 26th of March. Then we touched on issues state of the nation. Nigeria must get leaders. And this statement was made by Macrofi, Daniel and Obi